Come on. Come on. Put your emojis together for Auntie Miracle B.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Auntie 3. This is my, what's going on, Tracy? Yes, we got, yes, this is channel 3. This is my special channel where I'm going to discuss cults and serial killers. So, I want to not have it on the main channel because, that's going to be kind of weird having uh, Saturday shenanigans and the titty whispering and, carbonation bullshit, and then be over here. And then throw in Heaven's Gate and, Jodi Arias. So that's going to be odd. So I said, I'm just going to just set up a third channel and, discuss for the people who enjoy stuff like this, for us, and then, there you go. So anyway, um, tonight my cult of the week. I'm gonna try to do a stream every week. And so, well, I might do one or two because I need to do a cult and a serial killer, or just like a murderer from Snapped. Like Andrea Yates or Susan Smith. And you guys can suggest who you'd be interested in seeing. But anywho's, hookahs. We're going to get started with my favorite cult, Heaven's Gate. For those of you who may be a little bit familiar with Heaven's Gate was a UFO cult who was based on Judeo-Christianity. You like Charles Manson? Charles is okay. I might do Charlie. I mean, Charles is interesting. He got an interesting backstory. I might do Charles. What was I say? So this cult here, he was good God. So this cult was based Judeo-Christianity based, but they also threw in Casey Anthony. Yes, I do love Casey Anthony. Who was John G? Bozzy. Who is John G? I don't know who John G is. Who that is? Who that is? John G. Who is John G? Oh, John Wayne Gacy. Now, see, you can type out Gacy. Yes, we're going to definitely do my serial killers. Yes, we're going to definitely do my killers. Gacy, Ed Gein. Who my other favorite? Gein, uh, Dahmer. Oh, God, I love Dahmer. And my girl, Eileen Wuornos. Woo, that thing is crazy. Ooh, she is nuttier than squirrel turd. Oh, and I got a whole bunch of cults as well. Yeah, Gacy is spelled wrong, peeper bitch. Anywho, back to the story at hand. My cult, Heaven's Gate. These are the group that committed suicide back in 1997, and they, in their religious beliefs, decided that they were going to ascend to the next level above human, i.e., heaven. But of course, they didn't consider it heaven. But they were going to ascend to the next level of human. And so they felt the only way that they could do that was if they left their earthly containers. So you can see it's very similar to Christian beliefs, whereas in their theology, they believe that your body is a vehicle, the same as your body in Christianity is a shell that just houses the soul. Yes, those are the common ones. Hey, Shakoria, welcome, welcome everyone. I got more people in here than I thought. Let me see if I can get 10 in here. Anywho, um, so like I said, they use it your body as a shell, so they saw it as uh, a vehicle. But here's the good part. This is the what this makes them very different. So the leader, his name is Marshall Applewhite. This is this hooker here. His picture here. This hooker here, Marshall Applewhite, i.e., Doe. He's one of the founders of Heaven's Gate. Well, he believes, of course, he is the reincarnation of Jesus. So, in their belief system, Jesus, when he was here 2,000 years ago, he does look crazy. So, yeah, when he was here 2,000 years ago, he was God's, not God, I'm sorry, he was the representative on earth for the next level above human, right? And so he was able to, I guess, have the disciples were people who, quote unquote, vibrated to his frequency. And so when he began his ministry, and the dove came and descended on Doe, and they were like, you remember the this is my son with whom I am well pleased. Well, that's when the implant of the spirit of Jesus entered into the actual man that was Jesus. Okay. So that's when the ministry started. So then when he was killed, that means that it was a failure at that time. So him and the disciples' souls, or yeah, their souls, so to speak, were put on ice for a suitable time for another representative to come on earth, and all other disciples, their souls were brought back as well, and they all gravitated toward one another. And so that's how they saw their group. Interesting, right? So anyway, Marshall Applewhite, he was he was a music teacher. Um, he was gay, and he was married at one point in time, and he was also crazy. And he actually met his other person that was in the cult, the other leader. How come they don't have a crazy white the girl on here? Let me find her picture. Her name was Bonnie Lou Nettles, and she was a nurse in the mental hospital. Let me find her picture. I thought I had her. Okay, here she go. Bonnie Lou Nettles. Okay, so Bonnie Lou Nettles. That was so in their theology, right? There's not a God the Father, and there's not a Trinity. It is Bonnie Lou Nettles. She was oh, it's the wrong one. Bonnie Lou Nettles is Marshall Applewhite's older member. And let me see here. There she go. So she was the older member. I'm just trying to get a picture of her. So this is Bonnie. So she was a nurse in the mental hospital where Applewhite was. And so Applewhite, his goofy ass, was having a mental breakdown. And so they became, friends, and they were platonic friends, right? So they all were she was into weird, esoteric, uh, occult and theosophy and astrology. She was like a white hotep. She was hotepping. And so she and Doe, or yeah, they got together and they decided that they were going to go on a caravan across the country together because they were the two witnesses in the book of Revelation. And so they said that they were going to be assassinated and they were going to lay in the street dead for 3 days. And then they were going to come back and they were going to prove to everybody that they were from, what they said was true. Okay. So they were all over the world, well, all over the states, United States, going to meetings and meetings and meetings, telling people the world is going to end. It's going to be spaded over. And your chance to evacuate Earth is whatever time. Because, they always predict, when the world's going to end. And of course, they're always wrong. So this is, okay, here we go. So the world's always going to end. And then, of course, they were wrong. So this cult started back in the 70s. So it started back in 1974. So there were people in this cult since the 70s. And so they called themselves, they were in a class. And so their thing was they wanted to act um, like they were aliens, like they saw themselves as sexless, genderless aliens. Why do you think that they thought that they were aliens? Because Marshall Applewhite was gay and he was trying to repress his sexual. Yes, it was that old. And they wanted to repress he wanted to repress his sexuality. So when they went and when they were recruiting, they would get people, they have to leave their friends and family, like most cults. They left their friends and family. They just disappeared. So people thought they were abducted or kidnapped or stuff like that. So they left their families. They left their identities. They gave all their worldly goods to T and Doe. That's the note. That's the names they went by. First they were Bo, and then they were Peep. Then they decided to be T and Doe for the notes in the scale. Retarded, I know. Exactly, it does sound like Bishop, but all the cults, especially the fundamentalist cults, they do this. You have to always leave your family and your friends. You have to take on a new identity, and then you are with your new cult. You have to learn new cult speech. That's who you are. And so they changed their names. They got these generic haircuts. People had to repress their own urges. So if I were in the cult, I couldn't act like a female. I had to act genderless because there were no genders in the next level above human. There was no God, the Father, in the sense of the Trinity. So, for instance, if you want to look at it this way, Jesus is the Son of God, right? And then you have God the Father, right? Then over him is his Father. Then over him is his Father. Then over him is his Father, up the chain to the Chief of Chiefs. But everybody is a equal member in the next level above human, which is, it's cool having the egalitarian type of philosophy. Okay, so this is their website, which has not changed since 19. Oh, hell. I need to get my shit together, which has not changed since 1997. Of course, there are some people who did not kill themselves. So these are the people who still maintain their website. This is their website. And as you see, they love sci-fi. And Red Alert, they used to watch Star Trek heavily. Yes, it was in San Diego when they were found. So I graduated high school in 97. So let's see where I'm trying to go with this. So once you get into this group, right? Like I said, you have to let go of all your friends and family. And this is what they would say that the next level above human will look like. This is what they aspired to become. This is what they thought their true self looked like. And so once they shed their earthly containers, they were going to look like that when they boarded the spaceship. But in the beginning, when they first started out, the part of the theology was they were going to board a actual spaceship, so they weren't going to have to kill themselves, so to speak. They would just a spaceship would land, and they would get on board the spaceship. Unfortunately, Bonnie Lou Nettles died. She had cancer. So when she died, that changed up the whole game, because you were telling these people for 20 years, the world's going to end, the world's going to end, the world's going to end. And it never happened. So we decided we needed to up the ante. And then when you heard about the Hale-Bopp comet, and there was supposed to be something trailing behind the comet, that was what you said. Hey, this is it. This is the marker. T is flying the spaceship. She's coming to pick us up. The only way we're going to get there is we're going to have to exit our earthly containers, and then we can beam aboard the spaceship. And so that's what they decided to do. They took some vodka and some phenobarbital, and they went in shifts, and they would suffocate each other. So one group would go on one day, and they had on their little away team outfits. Y'all remember the black? And one group, they would take the vodka, the pills, and the applesauce. Then they would lay down. They would have their money, and then somebody would put the bag over their head, suffocate them, put the purple shroud on, and then the very next day, hey Hudson, and the very next day, the next group would do it, and then on the last day, the truly devoted ones did it to themselves. That's some fuckery, because I ain't gonna do none of that. All right, so this is what they thought they was gonna look like, right? Psychotic. So I'm gonna show you some of T's fuckery. When you join the cult, this is some of the dumbass shit that you'll hear. I'm gonna try to find a shorter video, and I'm gonna play some of the students' exit statements. They did exit statements before they, like the day before, to their friends and families to say, "Hey, we out of here. Um, I'm doing this of my own free will. Don't cry for me, Argentina." That type of stuff. Um, Let me see what this. I'm trying to find a shorter video, but I'll just play a snippet. Look at this nut. Who gonna listen to this shit? Who listened to this? Like it's Star Wars Episode 1. Look at this shit here. Look at it.
Welcome to Beyond Human, the last call. We have a big picture to try to
it's still up,
portray to you.
Hudson.
You don't know us. You don't know what we represent.
Psychos.
Beyond Human might say something, it might not, but it says a lot to us.
It says not shit.
And we want to share it with you. I've asked some students.
Why he talks so slow? This would piss me off.
And you noticed on the opening title page, that this was T, Doe, and students.
Ugh.
I'm Doe, and sitting in front of me here are two students, June and Sawyer,
You see how they look?
and they're going to play your part in voicing for you.
Now, as you see, another thing, they always had to be in pairs, and they usually paired a female with a male. But you see, they both look generic and the same. And from what I've read, that like if a woman got her cycle, then she has not overcame her humanness, because what they were doing in the classroom was trying to overcome their human emotions, their human desires, their wants, their needs, their drives. I want to eat chocolate today. That's something that I have to overcome, because the mission is we have to be a certain way so we can be prepared to go to the next level above human. That is the goal. That is the journey. So me wanting chocolate, me wanting to go watch TV, me wanting to lay down in my pajamas and watch Nightmare on Elm Street, that is mammalian behavior. And that's their terminology, mammalian behavior. But let's continue.
Questions that might enter your head. They may not necessarily be questions that would enter their heads because they've been students for a long time. But they will try to help me fill the gaps and not have
It's a lot of
too
gaps.
big of holes in the subject matter that we're going to try to cover for you. Rather than give you any history,
And did I mention that the dude had mental
well,
illness?
I'm
I
going to
think he
back
was
up and give you a
schizophrenic
little history.
and heard
In
voices.
1975,
What happened?
there were two individuals
Come on.
who
Who
came
what?
public, held some meetings around the country,
God dog, nigga.
and said that they were from the kingdom of heaven.
Okay.
And those two individuals were T and Doe. T, my partner, who has returned to the kingdom of heaven,
I.e., she died.
and left me here with the responsibility of whatever is remaining of this task,
Because he's Jesus and these are
for it was mine
disciples.
to fulfill. I learned in working with T as a partner that
Yes, he talks so freaking
T is my
slow.
older member.
Older
I
member.
know that doesn't make much sense to you. What is an older member?
Nigga.
Well, I'll go back to saying that T and I, when we held meetings across the country,
Mm-hmm.
said that we were from the kingdom of heaven
Mm-hmm.
and that we had been given information on how to go from the human kingdom into the kingdom of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, we called it human individual metamorphosis.
Mm-hmm.
And as we held some meetings,
Oh, bitch, come
quite a
on.
number of students, our followers, our curiosity seekers, just dropped whatever they were doing and came and listened to us, spent some time with us, a short period of time with us in some campgrounds, and we talked about the kingdom of heaven.
So, one thing that you also have to remember that these people that they caught and how they catch most people in cults is you usually catch them younger. You normally catch them during a period of upheaval or turmoil in life. They usually catch them when they are, at a low point, like you've lost your job or you had a bad breakup, and you are more vulnerable and susceptible to this type of uh, stuff. You're thinking about ways that you can improve yourself. You are an inquisitive person. You're a seeker. Maybe normal religion did not fulfill you and you were looking for something else. So you run into a con artist like these motherfuckers, and there you go.
The physical kingdom of heaven, not a spiritual kingdom of heaven. Not that it isn't spiritual, but it is not etheric. It is not only spiritual, which represents the character of the soul, but it is a physical kingdom as well.
It's
And as we
physical.
talked about that kingdom to these students, after a very short time, and we had written a
So when it was physical, that meant that they was going to actually physically leave on the spaceship, on the mothership, and physically in these bodies go to the next level. And then once they got there, then they'll be transformed into the little alien creature. That was the theology before.
statement about it. These students took that statement and went across the country for 9 months, holding meetings in one little town, one big town, one little town, one big town after another. Sometimes they got run out of town
I know they
because
did.
people didn't like what they were saying.
Yeah, because it was
They
crazy.
thought that it was anti-Christian, or it was New Age, or it
Yeah.
was blasphemous.
Yeah.
It's easy to see how people could think that it was all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Though it was none of those things.
Because he's the Christos.
After that 9-month period of holding meetings around the country, T and I felt like we had instruction to call the students together and to begin an intensive or in-depth classroom training program. So all of the students came together, and at that time there were about 100 students that had survived the trek around the country of holding meetings who still thought they wanted to go a little further and see what else they might learn from T and Do if we really had anything to offer, or if this was the time for their excursion to end.
Oh, God.
When we met with those hundreds or so students and told them that this was dead serious, that we couldn't take them on as students unless they were ready to drop all of the behavior that they might still be participating in, that we knew was not common to the kingdom of heaven.
All the behavior.
And the more we stressed that they would have to drop that behavior, sex being the one that seemed to stand out the most, that people seemed to be so addicted to.
And tell me why would they want to stop sex and procreation? Because the nigga is gay and he's got sexual repression. He's trying to repress his homosexuality. That's why we had to cut out sex.
And hard to make that transition from. As we really got serious about it and knew that that one had to go, along with other addictions, drinking or smoking or drug usage, or needing to tend to old attachments or binds that
i.e. your family
still
or
drew them
friends
to their particular interest. The numbers started dwindling.
Yeah, it sure did.
And the classroom then ended up in the, somewhere in the 40s or 50s, cut about 50% pretty quickly. And then we started really getting down to the nitty-gritty. It wasn't that we stayed serious all the time. We had a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Fortunately, if we hadn't had a lot of fun, we would have lost our marbles even more than we thought we had already lost our marbles when we stopped to examine what we were doing.
That was funny.
During that time, for a long period of time, we had been in tents and, maybe little trailers, some little RV units, because we were staying outside and just moving to wherever the climate would permit us to continue with our classroom.
Uh-huh.
Now, I have to bring up
What?
that this has a parallel to it that we have to examine.
No, it would definitely be a no for
2,000
me.
years ago, when Jesus was sent
Here
to
we
the
go.
kingdom of heaven,
Here we go.
he was sent for the same purpose. He was sent to say, if you follow me, I can.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. So Jesus was the dude. That was the physical man. That was Jesus. And the Christ was the spirit. And so the spirit also is inhabited in dough. Yeah. Thank you, dough. You reminded me.
Not only make you fishers of men, I can give you the good news of the kingdom of heaven. If you do what I say to do, if you believe that I have the information that you need
Mm-hmm.
and you apply it to your lives and in
Mm-hmm.
your behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and you overcome the world,
Mm-hmm.
then you can go from the human kingdom into the heavenly kingdom and not need to return again. In other words, the only reason you would need to return is because you haven't finished the lessons that needed to be learned at the human kingdom. Or another way to look at it, because you still haven't overcome the behavior in the human kingdom that is not found acceptable in the heavenly kingdom.
That's why they
Now,
came
this
back.
is a big picture, and I'm going to have to approach it from many different angles.
Oh, Lord. It's Latanya. I got to break it
Try to
down
keep putting
from
little
many different
pieces of the
ways,
pie
many different
together
angles.
to help you understand it.
Yeah.
I'm going to back up even further.
Ooh, where we going?
Before T and I made a statement
Back that ass up.
that told about that we had come from the kingdom of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
In the early 70s,
Oh, my God.
for unknown reasons,
Is he
this
not
is just my
a
attempt to
weirdo?
explain to you what occurred.
What occurred, weirdo?
For unknown reasons, things we could not understand, my life began to suddenly fall apart. It had been a very stable life, an acceptable life, a certainly one that was considered legitimate and had respect to it in the community, as did T's life.
It's shut up.
And her life separately began to fall apart. We did not know each other.
Mm-hmm.
We'd never seen one another that we were aware of.
So you see,
Had never met.
you see
And then in the early 70s, I think around 71,
that period where things
we
are falling
met
apart in your life.
just perchance while I was visiting a sick friend in a hospital
Bitch, you was in the
where T was a
hospital.
nurse.
Yeah, you was a patient in the mental ward. Look at him lying.
From that moment, my life changed.
It sure did.
Changed very significantly.
Mm-hmm.
I rebelled. I didn't want it to change, and yet I knew it had to change.
He wanted to be gay. He
And
wanted
that
to come out the
conflict that
closet,
was in me was very great.
but he had to
The
stay in
same
the
thing was
closet.
happening with T. She knew she had something to do with me. I tried to reject that idea. And T was confused for a while and wondered, well, why do I recognize you and you don't recognize me?
T was married and had a little girl that she abandoned to get with this nut.
And even though I might have thought I didn't recognize T, I knew that I couldn't cut it off. And yet here we had separate lives, separate careers,
Mm-hmm.
families, involvements in the world. And all of a sudden, just because we met, something was causing us to have to become more involved in spite of our desire not to, not involved in a human way. There was never a coming together in that we were bed partners or involved
Bed
in a
partners.
physical relationship. but there was something that compelled us to spend time together and listen to each other and search together. And we started searching scriptures. We started searching everything we could get our hands on,
Mm-hmm.
New Age material,
Of course.
everything we could find that would open our heads. We really realized that all of the searching that we were doing
Oh, he's
was
super gay.
superficial.
He's ready
That
for
where
the
we were really
being in the
getting
movie Birdcage.
and getting information was what was being fed to us.
He ready for Pride Month.
Now, what we know, or we understood later, that what was happening
You know he a music
during
teacher.
that time was that we were what is historically called, we were going through an awakening period.
Mm.
And that awakening period is one where it's common for the person
Y'all see how they're no different than hoteps? See, you're becoming conscious.
who is awakening for his life to begin to fall apart, or her life to begin to fall apart.
Yeah.
And for them to suddenly just be in a whirlwind, in a state of total confusion,
State of confusion.
not knowing what was going on.
Right.
Total change of focus.
Yep.
Just dropping of everything of the past and being absolutely compelled to go with this new thing that was happening, not even knowing what it was.
Does this not sound like them carbonation clowns dropping all your attachments, running off because you don't want to pay bills, you don't want to work, you just want to go and fuck off in the jungle or wherever the Airbnbs and just drop everything. Just drop it all. No cares in the world. Just run off.
Fearing it in a way. And strange as it may seem, it seems to always cause all of the people in the periphery of your life to turn against you. Think that you've lost your marbles.
Your marbles.
You've gotten duped. Has a spell.
Does he not remind you of Mike Pence?
Down
was just
a crooked
more
path or into some
frown
sort
lines?
of witchcraft or occult endeavor. And unfortunately, or fortunately, that seems to be a common symptom of an awakening. Now, at that point, let's talk about what is awakening from a different perspective. Let's discuss reincarnation a moment.
Ah, yes.
Not the typical Eastern view of reincarnation or the caste system progression.
Okay, what we talking about?
Or that you're going to come back in another life as a bird or a monkey or something of that sort.
Okay, what we talking about then?
We have to realize, if you search even the biblical scriptures carefully, that you'll see dozens of very clear references to a good understanding of incarnating and recognizing that certain individuals that had been historically recognized in biblical times in the past were the people were always questioning, well, is that them reappearing? Is that Moses or Elijah? Or
Moses.
Who was John the Baptist? Could he have been so-and-so?
Moses.
And what did Jesus mean when he said, you have to be born again? But to even look at it more from common sense, which is often a good measure or good judge of the kind of sense that comes from our Heavenly Father.
He is extremely dry.
Common sense doesn't tell us that our Heavenly Father would put a soul into this world and let it spend a few months and then have an auto accident, and that's the end of its existence. And no lessons to be learned. If you search the scriptures,
he was like Mork and Mrs.
Really
Doubtfire.
get familiar with
Barbara, you terrible.
God's Word, as people call it, the Bible,
The
And
Bible.
as I say, as people call it, I certainly don't mean that I don't feel that it is, because it is the record that we have. It is the only authentic record we have of the kingdom of God's relationship with man.
Mm.
If you search that scripture, you
Mm-hmm.
learn that there was a period in time called an age
In
prior
age.
to this age.
Okay. The
Now,
Ice
what we
Age,
mean by this
Stone
age, we talk about
Age.
this age as if it's, possibly this 6,000 year period.
Oh,
And
6,000
prior to this
years.
6,000 year period, there was, according to the Bible, references made to a previous age where some souls came from that previous age. And it
Mm-hmm.
also makes reference to an age after this age.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the talk that is so common this day and time of the last days or the end of the age, and some people even talk of it as the end of the world, when I'm afraid I don't feel that
I'm gonna get ready to
our
cut
Heavenly
him off
Father
in a
has
minute.
quite deemed the planet so ill that it can't be
Cause he boring.
recycled, refurbished,
Yeah.
cleaned up,
Mm.
restored. But I feel that we are at the end of the age.
Well, the Kool-Aid is
Now, the end of the age, I'm afraid I
Jonestown.
feel is right upon us.
These are
It's going
spaceship
to
diggers.
come, and I don't want it to sound like a prophet, but my gut says, and
Mm-hmm.
everything else that I know points to, that it's going to come before the turn of the century, that it's going to come in the next few months or next year or two.
Okay.
I could be off. T and I thought it was going to end within a few months. The age was going to end in 1975 when our students
1975, the
were out
world's gonna
holding
end.
meetings. Let's go back to the students for a moment.
No, 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 no.
When we had those students, the ones that were faithful and stayed with us to the best,
I thought the students was gonna be saying something. It's just him running his mouth.
sheepishly, and realized no one wanted to hear about it. And now, all of a sudden,
Look
we're
at these
getting
little baby
instruction
teeth.
to give it out
Look at these baby teeth.
more clearly. And this is what you're witnessing tonight. The first program, the first session of a series on above human,
Oh,
beyond human.
beyond human.
Last call. End of
Last
the
call.
age.
End of the
Last
age.
call.
Last call.
We'll take this up in another session,
All right.
and we'll have a series. I
Uh-huh.
know I left a lot of gaps.
Yeah.
They didn't help me fill them too well.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah. And then, yeah. This was in 97. This is the cult who tried to ride on the mothership that was behind the comet. And they all killed themselves in San Diego. You know, they all had on the black away team outfits um, um, and had the little purple shrouds over them. Yeah, he would fit in real good with Legio because, you know, they're getting them downloads. So we have some of their backgrounds and all of that fun stuff. Now, I also wanted to cover, hold on, where am I at here? There we go. I wanted to cover some of their cult shit in their own words. And this is the reason why I love them so much, right? And look, they have an active email address. You can still order online books. So let's see here. This is basically what he said before about leaving him and his task partner. They both came from evolutionary level above human, from the kingdom of heaven. They took over two human bodies who were in their 40s, talk about, having a midlife crisis. And they were in these bodies called vehicles, and they served as vehicular tools in order to work on their tasks, in order to overcome their humanity. And they said that these souls um, have been tagged for these bodies' use, or I'm sorry, the vehicles have been tagged for use since the vehicle was born. All right. So then they had the students, um, which they call the crew, that they used on Earth in previous missions, and they were in various stages of their metamorphic development. Of course, they did not overcome um, their debilitations from the last time they were in the class. Um, Let me see what else. So yeah, so they didn't overcome from the last time they were in the class. So they basically had to start back over to continue their schooling. Let's see. Let me go through some of this real quick. Okay, so they also felt that um, what they needed to do was they needed to the soul, the implant was our consciousness. And so the consciousness had to override the body. So the body is in complete conflict with the consciousness. So the the two, T and Do, were midwives, so to speak, who was trying to help the class um, transition from their human characteristics to prepare to be born as new creatures in the next level above human. So, no, Barbie, they didn't drink anything. Well, they did. They drank some vodka, and they had barbitol and applesauce, and they suffocated themselves. Let's see. So, okay, so this is their theology here. They say that each time the next level relates directly to any portion of that civilization, deposits containing souls, the seed or chip with a program of metamorphic possibilities are placed in many human plants. This deposit is potentially the gift of life into the physical and real evolutionary level above human. These deposits are given or made only when members of the next level above human are assigned to directly relate to be incarnate in the civilization. So that means that we can't go and do this shit here because there's not a incarnate um, to teach, to hold a class. There's not one present because um, that window has passed. So only when there is a next evolutionary level above human incarnate present can you begin the classroom process to then overcome your debilitations, as Nature Boy and them would say. Um, so they say that humans with these deposits can be identified as people who are rapidly losing respect for this world or the system. They are, from the establishment point of view, being irresponsible or antisocial, and will be seen by the world as dupe crazy, a cult member, a drifter, a loner, a dropout, a separatist. Are we seeing a pattern here? Okay. So they say that the body is a temporary container for the soul, and the soul is the housing or container for the new creature. The soul has its own brain or hard drive. Now, the reason why they're using this language is because they were tech nerds. that accumulates information for the next level. The soul becomes part of the new physical body of the new creature. Um, so when a soul is part of a new deposit, it has very little information, and it is a next level fetus. It grows in size, and it will abort the human mind, which is in the container beside it. So you have to completely eliminate you, your nature, your identity, and you have to take on this cult personality in order to ascend to this next level above human. Okay, so then that soul with its next level mind has become a physical body and a new species and next level above human, and it needs only a new physical outer shell. So the inside, you have completely obliterated your human mind, so now you are ready for a new physical body, which you need to physically enter the next level above human. So this is when they changed their theology and decided that we were going to physically enter on the mothership. So then they says it's the final act of metamorphosis or separation from the human kingdom is the disconnect or separation from the human physical container or body in order to be released from the human environment and enter the next world or physical environment of the next level. And this will be done under supervision of members of the next level in a clinical procedure, and we will rendezvous in the clouds, aka a giant mothership, for our briefing and journey to the kingdoms and the literal heavens. So when they say that they're going to meet in the air in the clouds, they're referencing the rapture in the book of Revelation. Okay? See, in their theology, they use Christian concepts, but they put a new age UFO spin on it. So, like in the Bible, when Jesus ascended to heaven after the his resurrection, well, what that means to them is that he was beamed aboard a spaceship, and first century people would not know the word for spaceship. They would know what a cloud with lights are. So they would describe it as him ascending into the clouds, bathed in light. But we know, since we are of this age, and since his soul was deposited, and now he is in this more modern age, that it was a spaceship. Now, I don't know how in the world, if you, Jesus, and you're from the next level above human, that your retarded ass can say it's a fucking spaceship. I don't understand. But whatever, it ain't meant for me to understand because I ain't there. Okay, so all right. So let's see. So of course you have the a part of the cult where they separate people, because so there's always a us versus them. The those who are worthy, those who are not, those who are part of the group, those who are not, those who are not part of the group are lost. So those people are humans without deposits. They're simply plants, containing the mind of programs of genetic information combined with the brain's interpretation of the information of the current body's experiences, meaning that these people are just here, they're useless, they're part of the matrix, they're part of the system, they're human batteries, they're lost, they have no depth, no nuance. Their theology, Kayla, does make a bit of sense. It really does if you look at it from the sense of Well, no theology makes logical sense. If you look at it from that perspective, no religion makes logical sense. Think about it. Jesus being conceived by the Holy Spirit, being born from a virgin, doesn't make logical sense, right? A person being living in a well for 40 days and 40 nights, that doesn't make logical sense. So that crazy isn't as far-fetched as they're crazy. The only difference is they're crazy is weird to us because we've never heard it before, or we haven't gotten in depth with their version of crazy. But if you look at it from the perspective of they're saying this, and if you compare it to their to Judeo-Christianity, and you just take out certain aspects of it, it matches. They just put a new age spin, but it's pretty much saying a similar thing, that your body is a shell, that it's temporary. You will have to drop your body. Your spirit, your soul is immortal, that you're going to ascend to heaven or hell, whatever you believe in. Um, you will have a final judgment, but their final judgment is basically you're going to be left here on earth and you're going to be spaded over. That's their version of hell. They're going to escape when the earth gets destroyed. So that's their hell versus being thrown in a lake of fire with Satan. Okay, so then you have those with deposits who are receiving nourishment from the present reps toward their completion. And then those with deposits who are not in a classroom, but has a relationship with the representative, but they have not been confronted with the reps, or they have been confronted with the reps, but have chosen not to pursue. So these are the ones that are on the path, and these are the ones who were on the path but quit, or those who were like, this is too much. I know the truth, but I can't give up, sex and coffee and, whatever I like to do. So, let's see. I'm trying to see what else I can share here because I'm going to get ready to cut it soon. Oh, yes, yes. Let me show y'all some of the suicide videos. These were these goofballs goodbye videos. So I'm going to show these to you. So these goofballs were literally acting like they were getting ready to beam aboard the spaceship. And hold on, let me see. Where am I at? I had my shits queued up. Let me go back. Oh, okay. I got it. Let me get these dumbasses. Y'all can see these idiots. And I believe these were probably some nice, sweet people. All right. These are the goofballs leaving. So they got renamed.
Okay. We're going to begin our interviews today with Soroti.
Mm.
How long have you been in this classroom circumstance?
I've been in here since Valentine's Day 21 years ago.
21 years.
Okay. And is there anything in particular you would like to say?
What would I like to say? Oh, goodness. There's so much I want to say to you. Just about anything that would be of any significance to you is already on Heaven's Gate. I mean, this is kind of, in one sense, kind of silly. I would really strongly recommend, if you could find Heaven's Gate, the book, the website, go there, study it, read it.
No.
It would do you a lot of good. But maybe on a more personal note,
I tell you, the 90s, boy.
There's a number of you out there that have probably been in contact with me personally. A number of the classmates that you'll be seeing on this this tape. And
some of them did get
remember how you
castrated.
felt
Yes.
when we were there. Remember, what it was like to work with us and to be with us. And you probably do better off trusting that rather than whatever information.
Okay, so some of them went to Mexico with Doe to get themselves castrated because Doe had he couldn't repress his sexual urges for men. So the best way to repress your sexual urges is to cut your penis off. So that's what some of these men did. They were that dedicated to the cause. And Hudson, not only the LDS doesn't do coffee, but Scientologists don't do it either. Yes, the Heaven's Gate podcast is good. The People's Temple podcast is good too. Which I'm gonna do People's Temple next. I'm gonna get rid of these niggas. They boring. Let's see, they saying something.
Tea. And
Oh, they reading their little notes. Hold on, let me back up.
and on how best to cut all ties, attachments, and addictions to self and this world. And this is my prepared statement. It's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
And
look at their faces. They're
I
happy.
think my constant asking long before I entered the class was the key, the constant begging for the real facts, the real truth as how to get out of this world and grow beyond it, rise above it, and leave it behind, both self and this world. And T and Doe are my older members, and they're from the next level, and they show me by their example and the next level ways, behavior and conduct for a beginner in the next level. And I must never forget that my free will and options and choices allow me to either keep looking up to the next level
Mm-hmm.
and my older members, or older members' chain of mind, or to look away, and which results in separation and death.
So is this not like Christianity? Is this not like Christianity? This is, you are trying to live your life based upon the tenets of the Bible, following these examples. You're trying to be like Christ, and you are trying to not be of this world. You're rejecting this world because you're looking toward going to heaven, getting your reward in heaven. You sacrifice now for your reward in heaven. It's all the same. It's all the same. The difference is they took it into their own hands instead of just letting your death and all that stuff come naturally, because you're born to die. They decided this is the time because I'm getting on the mothership.
Similar to cutting a leaf.
But it's the same
tree.
thing.
And as long as I look to my older members in the next level, I will have unlimited growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I look,
and to be separated from the Lord is to be in damnation.
Being of unlimited service in my new kingdom level, where all creation originates, also in my new next level vehicle or body or suit of clothes, whatever you want to call it. And I want to thank my father, Do and T, and prove my loyalty, and for them helping me and nourishing my next level mind.
Fuck that
I
shit.
feel the utmost respect and honor for the price they paid to endure for my sake and my classmates' sakes.
Please.
The entering into such a world as this one has become. And
being a cult leader is
I don't
awesome.
think words basically would do it at all. I don't know. All I can say is, what's next, and that I love T and Do in the next level.
Just before we break, and yes, I'm not. What Custody said sounds a lot better than what I said.
Speak up.
we don't know what's going to happen there. We don't know how much longer this civilization is even going to continue on. And so,
Well, they were convinced it was going to end in 1997.
That's why we're seeing these things.
Okay. Well, thank you both very much. And I guess we'll move on to the next interviewees.
Yeah, the next goofballs. Well, I don't even know how to pronounce these names.
Hi, sorry. We
These are chicks.
we're interviewing a number of people just to see a number of people express some interest in saying something on camera to the people that might, get this tape.
These are
And,
chicks,
we just
y'all.
wondered if you had anything particularly you wanted to say to people.
Well, I just want to let everyone know how lucky and happy I feel to be here, and
That's Aya.
let you know that what we're about to do is certainly
That is
nothing
Aya.
to think negatively about. We're all choosing of our own free will, go to the next level with T and Doe.
That's right.
And they are certainly not what the media is going to paint them out to be. I never got to meet T in this incarnation in her human vehicle, but I can tell you that Doe is the most special, dignified,
And that's
unhuman,
Fufu
objective person
in the
ever
blue.
meet.
That's Fufu.
That's right.
He has helped us
Just sitting
so
there.
much and put up with so much and never done anything that seemed even close to the way a human would respond.
That's facts.
And I guess that's really all I want to say.
That's a whole fact.
That sounded pretty good.
Okay. And Wakenodi, is there anything you'd like to add?
Wakenodi. Okay.
I think I feel just like Arasodi does. And if people would just know that we're not forced into this in any way, it's, our own choosing to do it. And I'm really happy that I made this choice because there was a lot of things kind of working against me not to, I'm sure. I know there was
This is somebody's football
people
coach
in the world who
or softball coach.
thought that I had completely lost my marbles. They're not right.
Don't she look like a gay coach? Like she should be coaching the WNBA?
I couldn't have made a better choice. And I think I need to every day thank T and O on the next level for even letting me be here because they don't need anybody. Just
Now this is Aya with that blank expression on her face.
I
That
could
is
say a lot
Aya.
more too, but
That's
for
not
some
Malia.
reason,
That's Aya.
we always get kind of emotional when we start trying to convey our true feelings.
Look at her
because we
face.
know,
That's
I think, that
Aya.
the media is gonna just whatever. They're not gonna present it the way we would like to be presented. Anyway, I wish you could all be here. I wish you were
No, I'm good,
lucky and
pimping.
fortunate as we are.
I don't want none of that.
Looking forward to meeting T real soon
Yes.
in her next level vehicle. And that's our next level vehicle.
And what Arasodi said about Doe is just so right. I don't think any of us could be more happy.
Good for you.
Okay.
That's all we got to say.
Thank you.
Thank
both.
you.
All right, Pee Wee Herman. I'm telling you, that was Aya and are these chicks too? Yeah, these chicks.
Okay, we have Janodi and Livodi with us today. Livodi on the left, Janodi on the right. How long have the two of you been in this classroom circumstance?
Well, Janodi and I, both these vehicles ended up being a couple that were in Oregon in 1975. And we took these two
1975.
vehicles. You've probably heard of the news media story in 75 about a bunch of people disappearing from Walport, Oregon. Well, we're still here. We're very happy and proud to have been members of Tito's class. And couldn't be
Oh
happy
Lord,
about
she
what we got
crying.
to do. Doubt was never an issue. Certainly at times temptations of the vehicle or dumb influences might turn our heads for this reason or that, but there's always a deep down knowing that from the moment of seeing Tiendo that
Stay on the path.
why I'm here to take this vehicle and do this task.
Stay on the path.
And always knew that
Carry
I
your
knew
unk.
Tiendo from before this time, that there was strong recognition and genuine. Same way.
Vibrate into the frequency. These some hoteps.
Only thing I can think is that, it seems like probably the ones who will be, the blame will be pointed at would be Tiendo, and we've always had free reign to come and go and believe or not believe since day one in the class, and in fact more.
Now I will say, Doe, if any of these folks wanted to leave, Doe would he would pay for them to leave. He get them a ticket and he get them flued out. He didn't, get on social media or whatever. It wasn't no social media back then, but he didn't do y'all got to raise your own money and do all his lordship. What are you doing here, lordship? Are you here trying to get us to start beef? You trying to start a YouTube beef, lordship? Because you're responsible for all the YouTube beefs in the sector, his lordship. You need to get your trolls, lordship. You need to get your trolls.
More times than not, Tiendo would put effort into pushing anybody out of the class that didn't want to be here, and wasn't just full steam ahead with what.
Yes, the puppet master.
The truth of the next level to be, and
yeah. Oh, okay. See this black dude? This is Lieutenant Uhura's brother. The Uhura from Star Trek. This is her brother.
Okay, we have Destody with us, and Destody, how
Yes,
long
there
have
were
you been
niggas in
in
this.
this classroom circumstance?
Since March of '76, that'd be 21 years.
21 years. Niggas was in this cult.
And, so you met Tiendo at that time, or did you attend a meeting? How did you find out about them?
Well, that's a long story, but suffice to say,
that's Uhura's
when
brother.
I heard the information, I was overwhelmed. I individually searched for Tiendo because I didn't make a meeting.
But you could see how he would be influenced because his sister was on Star Trek. So obviously he had some sort of interest in sci-fi. Oh, he went to Mexico, they got castrated. Okay, I didn't know he was one that got castrated.
And after about a month, I found him, and I've been with him ever since.
Yes, I know about the lady who gave him a baby.
Door.
She on here.
You've probably heard from everyone.
Yep.
Quite a few people before me.
That's facts, lordship.
They've all expressed
they on here
what the class has meant to them and what they've learned in the class. But it's hard to express in human language. What we know or what we feel from what we've learned in the class.
I wonder what they.
I'm no exception. I'm having a very difficult time.
I wonder how they talk and converse with each other.
I'll try telepathically. To express, exactly what I feel.
They talk telepathically to each other.
Tiendo were two individuals that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I clicked out of here and I don't know what's going on, but let me get my stuff back up here. I am tripping. Yeah, I know. I hit my little pad and everything cut off. Y'all know I'm crazy.
To
or was said to have come from the next level.
Okay, let's get on with it, nigga. Try to end this.
Embarrassed that I can't express without getting emotional
I'm
how good I feel about
emotional
what I'm doing,
and I can't let
how
go.
good I feel about being
I
here
am
and
trying
being
to hold on to
given this
you.
opportunity to go to the next level. Just the opportunity is the gift.
A
It's
gift.
just it's overwhelming is the only word that I can come up with now.
Well, I guess that answers any other questions we would have asked.
I didn't know that I was going to talk so much, but
Board in the Starship
like I said, we
Enterprise.
all feel very emotional about the gift that we've been given. And
No pimping.
I'm the happiest person in the world.
No pimping.
Okay, thank you very much.
No. I'm already mad at them with these outfits and this haircut. What the hell is this?
Okay, so Vodi,
what is this?
You've been in the classroom for a number of years now. Would you like to tell us about that?
It's Peter Griffin.
Oh, yes, I joined.
It's a chick.
With T and Doe in September 1st, 1975.
1975.
At La Cañada in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Y'all Californians.
That's when I began at that time.
Okay. And is there anything in particular you'd like to say about your time in the classroom?
Well, when I knew that I'd be given the opportunity to speak to any who might be interested in what we might have to say,
and she got on them prison glasses too.
On what I thought might be helpful to you.
That's some jailhouse glasses.
And as Doe mentioned, I'm one who left the class after having been in it for 6 years and returned into the world. From my experience both in and out of the classroom, and from my experience with the being cared for, nurtured, and guided by the next level, I feel I could recommend
by Chief
that if you recognize
Baba G,
the next level information is true now or in the future,
the Christ,
the best thing you could do is to pursue it with every ounce of energy you have.
Fuck
and
that.
Continue to cling to the next level representative with your whole strength.
Fuck
so that. They
that.
Can call you faithful.
Fuck that.
It's up to each individual to prove to the next level that the next level is all that they want and that there's nothing in the human kingdom to hold them here. It's up to us to show the next level, not for the next level to show us.
I can't let go of sushi.
Next level is very generous and fair. And
sushi and wine.
They give each individual many
and weave
chances.
and makeup.
I think how the Bible said it was something like 70 times 7, which is a number representing a lot.
Oh, it represents a lot. Wonderful.
As long as you show with your sincerity that you want
70 times 7 represents a lot.
They do it for you repeatedly. If you can convince them that you are sincere in what you want, that would be to serve them. And those who might have, I feel that those who might have recognized the next level but turned away.
Monica, you must have been running, one of the ones running in and out of here. No, none of the females look female. They were supposed to be androgynous. There's no genders in the next level above human. So that's why they all look like this hot mess. They all look the same because there is no genders. There is no sex. Because in the next level above human, there is no gender.
May from it for one reason or another, anywhere, whether in a meeting or having been with us, we may need to plead repeatedly, like I did over a long period of time, to show that they're sincere. But if you knock on the door and continue.
And another factoid, Monica, you being a woman and you have your cycle, that's a problem, because that means you haven't overcame your vehicle and your female inclinations, like the hell we got a choice with that. But yeah, you're not supposed to have a cycle or anything that identifies you as a female. You're supposed to reserve, you're supposed to reject all of that. That shit ain't happening. Yeah, I got all this stuff, coming out of here, but that ain't what that is. Because it don't happen to us. Because we aliens and we gonna get on the good foot and we gonna fly away.
When you ask you to serve the next level, they won't forsake you.
Jesus
so
will
glad
never
that
leave
T
you or
guided me
forsake
back
you.
to go. And I'm so glad that we'll be joining T again in the next level.
It's
soon.
disciples.
I really feel, which was your last question, how do I feel about it? I feel very honored and very, very lucky that I wasn't stuck back in the world where I chose to make the mistake of going for a while.
All right,
Lord, help her. Help her. She don't feel well. Strody and Glenody.
Okay, we have
Woo!
Starody and
Now there go the
Glenody with us
oldest one,
now.
Lordship.
How long have you been in this classroom circumstance, Starody?
I am fortunate enough to have been in the class for 21 years.
21 years.
I had a lot of lessons I needed to learn compared to some of the others.
I know it wasn't sex.
Come in Los Angeles.
I know it wasn't
where I
sex.
heard T and Do talk.
Los
It's changing
Angeles,
my
more California.
And Glenody?
Well, first off, I wanted to apologize for my appearance. I slept on my hair wrong last night. As you can see, it's just a mess. Anyway, I've been in the class also since 1975, and I've never.
I saw a special a documentary on Heaven's Gate. This one here was when he first joined. He was young, and he had nice, beautiful, like it wasn't blonde. It was sort of like a brownish, blondish hair. He was real nice looking when he was younger. And this is what happened. You see, cults drain the life out of you, and they make you look dried up, shriveled up, half dead. This is what happens. He was cute. He was real cute.
Left, and I never would leave.
And his mom was looking for him.
Okay. Is there anything in particular you'd like to share about your experiences in the classroom, either one of you?
Well, I just think I wanted to try to express that.
Yeah, they made a lot of money.
The same way that everybody in the world isn't 32 years old. Their souls and spirits are different ages. And just like the person who's in his doctoral degree studying quantum mechanics or something, he can't explain to the second grader what he's learned and what he's
You can't explain it to me, because I ain't going to understand
either. The second
either.
grader can say, well, I'm learning addition subtraction this week. And the older student can say, oh, I kind of remember back when I was doing that. But the second grader, there's no way you can tune into what college level students. So, there is no way for us to explain to the people who are probably watching this tape what's going on. They're not going to understand.
No.
We understand that.
I understand what y'all are doing.
They can try their very, very best, and I'm sure that will be good enough to the next level. Just do the very best you can. That's all they expect you to do. And we do have a book out that they can learn all the things from. That he was very, very, that Glenody has been very, very prominent in helping to put that book out on the computer.
Yeah, propaganda.
In front of the computer.
Da 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 da. Moving on from Grandma Monster. Woo! Look at
we
these
have
two.
Anlodi and Daimodi with us now, and if I remember correctly,
oh Lord,
you both came in May of
Look at them
1976
tracksuits.
after you knew that T had announced the harvest was closed. Is that true?
Oh Lord.
That's true in my case. I remember when I came in,
The group that
At one time
I
at band
attended
camp,
kept trying to tell me to go away, and I wouldn't get out of their Chrysler, so I kind of stayed.
uh,
Got in here by default. I didn't really meet T and O till
that's
like
Malia.
2 months after I came in.
In this vehicle.
In this
That's
vehicle.
Malia.
That's about the same thing that happened here. In fact, Lodi, you were one of the ones that were in Portland, Maine.
That's
where I met
Sean.
you all. I never even attended a meeting. I saw a poster at the Plymouth State College when I was leaving the dark room one day, and said, "This is something I got to do."
It's always
Just
a
all of
big
sudden,
ugly
the
one.
light went off in my body, and I searched for 3 days. I went to the University of New Hampshire looking for you all, and then I went to Portland.
That's
Portland,
Malia.
Maine. And that's when I found everybody, and I never attended a meeting, and the meetings closed out, and from there we went to Wyoming, and I saw T and O, and all of a sudden I just said, wow, there they are, and I hadn't seen so long.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
I didn't know if it would be appropriate if I did a little explaining of my name, since because my name I got from my older member. I originally had the name of Omega.
Omega?
Because when we first joined the class, in the very beginning,
Your name was N?
separate yourself from the vehicle. And so you take another name so you're not being called by what the vehicle was called. My first name was Omega, and then I switched it to N because Omega seemed a little too highfalutin.
Highfalutin.
When we got the
I've never heard anybody
then I
use that
became
word in real
Annie.
life. Highfalutin.
But I spent a few years from like 1988 to 1994 away from the class. I spent it because I felt that I'd been taking the class for granted, and if I was put out in a world circumstance, then I would grow to appreciate it. When I had more, it was kind of a silly gamble because the class could have left. But
Can you see these weirdos making it in the real world at a job, going out on dates? Can you see these weirdos making it? These two sad creatures making it. Oh, I just want to just take them and hold them and tell them it's gonna be okay. Especially this one, she's so socially awkward. I bet you she has Asperger's.
they did it, and I was able to come back in. And at that time, my older member changed my name from Annie Oldie to Anil Oldie.
Oh God.
Anil is a word for a process used to strengthen steel.
Okay, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
First.
Okay, I've been in the classroom since
Oh.
January of '76.
Oh.
I was very fortunate to be able to spend some time with T and O before I came into the class. And I had a brief period of about 6 years that I was on a special task outside of the class because of having the vehicle that I am wearing and learning how to be completely independent with this vehicle.
So that means she's sickly.
The circumstance outside the class. And I think the thing that I would like to say about that is that I learned the value so much of what this class teaches and who I was and who my teachers are. During that 6 years that I was outside of the class, I followed every procedure and instruction in the little apartment circumstance that I had. And every one of them proved more valuable to me than you can imagine. That's what I'd really like to say. And then when I was able to rejoin the class, of course, that was a great, joyous day for me.
Yeah, y'all look joyful.
Well,
Y'all look great.
I'd like to let people know that out there that this
God,
is
these haircuts
the
are
only thing
terrible.
that I can do. And when I came in,
Yeah, you hear them birds in the background. I think Madam Whip-Ass looks better than both of these.
then, but
Shockingly.
I heard about them. When I heard about them, I knew that they were what I was looking for, and I had been searching.
Yes, that is Elvis.
Years and years for it.
That's Elvis, and that's Frank from
Then I met Tina,
Hellraiser
and I knew that they were my older members.
when he first came back. That's Frank.
I had to come with them because I knew that this is what I had to do. They're all there is, and this place is just like a hologram. It's a training ground for individuals that come from the next level to inherit another vehicle, a more refined vehicle, and that's what my task is, to
Remember, you're
work
gonna go to
on
heaven
my
and get a brand new body that doesn't hurt anymore.
and learn the ways of the next level. And my teachers are here to teach me.
You're getting a brand new body.
And I'm thankful that they came here to the city's place to do that.
So you feel like your mind knew them before you took this vehicle, is that right?
Well, I knew Team No right away when I saw them.
You
And
recognized
I knew when I heard their words. When I heard what they had to say, it was there. They were the answer. And there's no other answers here. There's no human here that can give you anything that you know. They cannot give you anything. These humans here do not know how to get to the next level. They need a representative.
You need a representative. I am the way, the truth, and the light. No man comes to the Father but through
Well,
me.
Liz, I'd like to say, when you ask about knowing T and Doe, when I met T and Doe, I knew who T and Doe were. I had no doubt. I didn't believe who they were. I didn't believe they might be. I knew. And I knew that I had had a past association with them, and I knew that I had a task to do.
You vibrated to their frequency.
Take over the vehicle and gain control of it and learn next level ways. And the whole thing is about service to the next level. And
Hotep's
I had no
Hotepin'.
doubt. And I'm very happy. And this is a very joyous time for the class to be able to be returning home.
Returning home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hell no. Hell no.
Okay. We have Presodi with us now.
Look, it's
and we
our
understand that you have something
it's our
you'd like to
second grade
say.
teacher.
Yes, I do. I prepared a little statement for any in the world who might be interested in why I'm ready to go to the next level.
But a study hall
I hope that
teacher
this will explain
that
what it
couldn't
means
control the
to me.
class.
First of all, I consider myself extremely fortunate to have been chosen for
That
this
shirt
class
is hideous.
and to have been in the keeping and care of two older members from the next level for the past 22 years.
I swear they read
In
the Golden Girls
1975, I
wardrobe.
received a statement entitled Human Individual Metamorphosis. And even before I finished reading the message, I knew I was hearing my Lord, my shepherd's voice.
Yes,
After
there's a lot of
meeting T and
elderly
Doe the
people.
first time, I instinctively knew who they were and where they came from. There was no doubt. It's like a knowing inside that you can't deny.
So you notice that they all have the same program. They had all of that shit drilled into them. Like every cult member in every cult that you've ever heard, they all are on the same script because they have that just drilled into them for hours and hours and hours, for days and weeks and years on end.
The information that they brought us about the next level and their ways and conduct were not human ways. And it became more clearly evident the more I was with them that I wanted to become like them. Their consistent caring and conduct is evidence to me that they were from a world I wanted to be a part of. Over the years, that desire has never changed. Now the time has come for us to leave this world and to return to the level above human as new beginners.
So they're going to start the class over.
And as new beginners in the next level.
In the next level.
By dropping these bodies,
Dropping
we
the
will
bodies.
receive the inheritance we have been promised of eternal life, a physical next level body, to be in service to the Chief of Chiefs.
The chief of chiefs. That's God the Father, technically. If
It is my choice
there was a God the
to lay
Father.
down my borrowed physical body
Uh-huh.
to prove to the next level my love and the trust I have in my older members for what they have shown me as their example of what I can become. My thoughts in these last hours are only of joy and wonder at the thought of going home to my older members and being in T's house at last.
Thank you.
Hails to the no.
Okay, we have Melody with us now.
Oh, I
and
think she was actually
Melody,
pretty.
would you like to tell us how long you've been in the classroom and something about that experience?
I think she was pretty.
Well, sure. I've been in the classroom since April or May of 1975. I guess it's almost 22 years.
Good God.
And it's been the best 22 years I could have ever experienced. There were a couple questions that I wanted to address specifically, or try to. I hope that that I can pull enough from my older members' mind that my answers to those questions will be appropriate. There were a couple things that I suspect.
You heard that? They have to have their older members' mind. Who does that sound like, that you have to have my mind? Who does that sound like?
There might be individuals out there who would like to ask us if they had the chance. And one of those questions I thought people might want to ask is, how can you, when you, so many of you have so many capabilities and talents, when you could have done so much in the world, choose to throw all that away and go off with some cult and just lose your life? Okay, so in response to that, for one thing, you have to consider what we as individuals wanted to become. I think everyone in this class wanted something more than the human world had to offer. They were seeking some type of goodness, some type of rightness that they did not feel in this world. So that's one thing. You have to consider what we wanted. To us, we weren't throwing away anything that was of any value to us. The other thing that you may not realize, that if you truly have some goodness in you, I think you will come to realize, and that is that the idea that you can become something in this world and really make a difference is an illusion. Anyone who seeks to make a real change in this world, to go out and do something, is going to eventually come up to the realization that the underpinnings of this world are so corrupt that you really cannot succeed unless you're willing to compromise what you know in your heart isn't really right. You're going to be faced with that inside you, give up something that was of value in order to make a difference in the world. So you really can't accomplish that. And hopefully, if that is the road path you've taken, where you're trying to make a difference, that when you come up to that point where you have to make a lesser decision, that you'll realize that you'll take the option of failure and go do some soul seeking and ask, why is this happening? Is there really a God? What did he have in mind for me? Is there something more? And as a result of asking those questions, you come to the realization that there is a higher evolutionary level above human that you can attain to and go after, and that you do not have to be satisfied with what's in this world. Now, the second question that I thought people might want to ask, and that is, do we really hate our mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers? Do we really feel that way? And I think one thing you have to realize, that each of us, in order to succeed at this task, has to know that we are the next level mind inside this vehicle. We have to totally identify as a child of the next level, see ourselves as part of that family, and know that that's who we are. That everything that was a vehicle is behind us, and it isn't us. The attachments that each of these vehicles had were very real. For each of us, there were things that we cared about. There were individuals that the vehicle respected and loved and cared for very much. And in making the decision that we made to do this, we know that we broke hearts. We know that we hurt people. And we don't take that lightly. We didn't want to hurt anyone. Unfortunately, it's the individuals that these vehicles cared for the most that are actually the greatest threat to us. And as a next level mind with an allegiance to an older member and wanting to succeed at this task, we had to be very aware that influences would take our vulnerabilities, those things that we cared about, and use them against us. They would take the programming in the vehicle, and if they could, they would make us look backwards and forget where we were going. And that happened to a lot of our classmates. I mean, we're sorry to say that there are many that were with us that chose to give up an eternity of service with their creator, closeness, and an opportunity to be the fullest, to reach fullest potential that their creator imagined for them. And they gave it up for a few months or years of closeness to another human.
Oh.
And we prayed for the strength that we not do the same thing. We wanted to reach that potential. We wanted to know what our creator had hoped that we might be. And through our older members, we've gained strength and discipline, and we've learned a lot. And in doing that, we had to recognize that programming, those attachments, we had to hate the things that will pull us back and be our enemies. And so we do hate the things that would pull us backwards because we don't want to fail. We wanted to succeed. We wanted to be close to our creator. We wanted to become what we could become. And this may not be something that any of you can recognize at this point, but the love that an older member has for a younger member is a type of love that a human cannot experience. There's a selflessness and a purity that goes beyond anything humans feel for each other. It's not a love that's based on satisfying mutual needs, which is really what almost all human relationships are. They're satisfying some mutual addiction. And a relationship with an older member, it's based on a shared desire to grow and serve the older members that created them and to please them. And I could wish for nothing more than that you may someday experience that as well. That's what I have to say.
Oh, well. Well. Jen Wody. Let me see if I got the pronouncements right. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
that's
we
the
have
pretty
Jody
one.
with us, and we understand if you have something you'd like to share.
That's the pretty one.
Well, yes, kind of. Well, it's going to be a bit extemporaneous because I've been working on a lot of things the last few days.
Woo!
And I've only had about 22 years to figure out what I was going to say here. But I'm going to make this a little less serious than some because I have written several papers that are in the Heaven's Gate book that express a little bit more what's close to my heart. But this is for our clients. And you
She
might
is
ask, well, who
so
are our
awkward.
clients? Well, as a quote monastery, we've had a little business that we called Higher Source, from which we earned our income so we could consume while we were on this planet. And we always were self-supporting, which a lot of entities that were in our position might not be.
Yeah,
But we would
carbonation.
like those individuals
Listen
that
up.
we work with to remember how they felt about us, what kind of work we did for them, and to try not to be influenced by what the media might say, because we suspect, knowing the track record of the media, that it might not be ultra favorable or objective. So you've had a unique opportunity to work with us directly, and there have been more than one client who has suspected that there was a little something unusual about us. And one particular individual came up to us one day and said something like, I'm halfway expecting one of these days that you're going to come through the door and say something like, the big guy upstairs sent us, to work with you. And we kind of sat on our hands and held our tongue at the time because we were trying to be a little bit restrained in our identity so that we could earn some sticks, as we call them.
Some Skrilla.
But to that individual, I'd like to say at this time that
There
God
is some
did have a
Skrilla.
message for you, but it was a bit premature when you asked. And we'd like to let you know that he's had an eye on you. And we want to let you know that you might need to get someone else to finish up your website right now. And that we might see you all again, and then we might not. But we hope that you remember us as we were, and not how other people are going to try and tell you that we are. And one last thing we'd like to say is 39 to beam up. Thank you.
39 to beam up.
Okay, we have Norodi and Chakoti with us now.
Yeah, let
Norodi
me
on the
find
left.
the find the black folks. I'm kidding about these niggas here. Oh,
You've already heard us talk a lot about restraint,
the fuck?
and that's because every member of the next level is restrained.
This is the one that gave up her
Some, of course, are
twins.
more restrained than others. Okay, well, thank you.
They love the thrift store. Fast forward to the suicides.
We have 3 of our classmates here, Jimoti, Alodi, Devoti, and they all felt like they'd like to say something to the world before we leave. Alodi, something you'd like to say?
Okay, I'll go first. I know you've already heard us talk a lot about restraint, and that's because every member of the next level is restrained.
Uh-huh.
Some, of course, are more restrained than others.
Uh-huh.
Because they're older and they've had a longer chance to grow taller.
Blah, 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 blah.
Used by a major network. But at the last minute, they got cold feet and decided it was too far-fetched. An individual who helped us with this project recently left the class with hopes of seeing.
Blah, 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 blah.
Keep my eye on Tiendo. That's my path.
Anything further?
Well, I just wanted to make sure that
Let me see. I'm trying to see how long she was in this class.
Tiendo, I recognized them. I mean, it just seemed like when I first met them, I knew that what they had to say was true. It wasn't something they said. It was something that I knew inside me. I felt it was like I had known the material they were talking about, and it was like a recognition. And they have so much care for all
There
of us.
were like 2 or 3 black
They think
people
more
in
of me
this
than I have
group.
thought of myself for all these years, and it's what has kept me going. There's nobody on this planet that has cared for me more than they have, and all my love goes to them. And I'm happy. I just hope that I can be with them forever.
Oh, she was in it for 6 months. Look what they did to her hair. That's what Legio did to Umi. All right, so yeah.
Anywhere in this world. Everything was just great, but it
Lord.
felt like there was nothing significant.
1991, and during that time, I sure what I'm going to say.
Woo!
I guess what I wanted to maybe address more was
Well,
how I feel about this step that I'm taking.
Y'all
And
see this?
some may say, "Well, boy, it's
Okay, this is
quite
Tron.
an irreversible step."
This is Tron.
And I just wanted to say that I'm familiar with irreversible steps, and tell you what, I don't know if you remember Doe talking about.
And he
that some
cross-eyed
students
too.
had proven to him that they desired to have their vehicles neutered, and I'm one of those students that did that. And I can't tell you how free that has made me feel. I've been here long enough from the time I had that operation to know the freedom that it offers me. And I'm just so thankful for that opportunity.
You didn't need it, boo, because
In
you
all
wouldn't get
reality,
none
I
from
can't see
nobody.
that
You
this
didn't need
next
it.
step that I'm prepared to take and looking forward to taking is anything more than a clinical operation. And having seen the benefit that the neutering has had for my consciousness, for my ability to grow and be closer to my older member, that I can't see any other way but
This
to
is
fully
Tron.
expect that laying down this vehicle is going to be anything but great for me. And individuals think of mind control or whatever, and I was in the class for 5 or 6 years, and then through my own ignorance and being attacked by influences, felt like, well, maybe I wasn't developed enough. Maybe I wasn't a strong enough student to continue.
Nigga.
Well, being out of the world proved to me.
Yeah. Bye, bitch.
For all of you. And this is what we strive for. And my last words, I would like to say that to my older members and all my classmates, of how much I truly appreciate all their help, their caring, their trust, their understanding and patience with all the growth that we've had.
We don't care nothing about our families.
And we just, there's no words again to express that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Look at you crying. No, hey, Mom, Dad. Good God.
And that's the way the next level is. It's my
Look,
choice.
he's
to do
young.
what I feel right and led to do. And I'm planning on following my older member no matter
Yo,
where
he's
he goes
young.
or what it is.
I didn't know it was one
what I
that
want to
young.
do, and that's what I have to do. And I'm very thankful for the design of that. And that's all.
I also want to thank T and Do and the members of the Next Level who have been extremely more than fair, more than patient with many of us, including myself, who have genetic packages that tend to be so difficult to try and control. And I'm just very, very thankful that this end of the part of the task is over.
That boy, he looks young. Wow. The hell.
And I'm going to emerge into another kingdom level that humans have no knowledge of.
Okay, they're gay.
And they interpret along religious
Especially this
lines,
one.
which
He's
is
gay.
basically misinformation.
Yeah, he's
But
gay.
the bottom line is that I am doing this of my own free will. I have chosen to do it. It's not something that somebody brainwashed me into or convinced me of or did a con job on. Something I have grown to know and to understand.
I'm sure he's
and of my own
a
will,
joy to be
I've
around.
chosen to do. And if anybody feels bad about that, that's their problem. It's my choice. Because of the kind of society that we have in this world, and especially in this Western
He
country,
is gay.
You have a problem with they don't let you do what you want to do with your...
Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you can feel the flames coming from him. That nigga is gay. Anyway, let's get to the photos of the suicide, and then we will call it, because it's going to be at almost 2 hours. So we'll go show you pictures of the suicide. So these were these clowns all over the house. Oh, hold on. Let me stop. Okay, I didn't get that. Let me show this. This is the news when the story broke. This is the news that broke on CNN when they was taking the bodies out.
Hello? Yes, I need to report.
Oh, okay, the ones that was left behind.
Okay, this is regarding what? This is regarding a mass suicide, and I can give you the address.
The address seemed the unlikeliest of places, a mansion in a quiet, affluent suburb of San Diego.
I have a gagging reflex with smells, so I wanted to take care of that. So I put cologne on my shirt and put my shirt over my nose.
Rio D'Angelo was the first one to discover the bodies and called 911. 21 women and 18 men had taken their own lives.
Must have been a lot to take in.
It was a lot to take in. It was disturbing because I'm yelling for people to see if they're still alive, and I'm also saying goodbye as I walk through.
It may have been a shock, but D'Angelo had an idea of what to expect. He'd been one of them. In his earlier life, Rio D'Angelo had been Richard Ford. After going through a divorce, he felt lost and was looking for a spiritual path.
They intrigued me in a way that was like nothing else.
They called themselves Heaven's Gate, a cult started in the 70s by a man named Marshall Applewhite, who later called himself Doe.
And let me say that our mission here at this time is about to come to a close.
Doe told his followers the earth is simply a garden to grow souls, and he could teach them how by following his strict regimen. All aspects of life were regulated, including what books they could read and what TV shows they could watch. Once the soul is developed, it's time to exit. To outsiders, that meant committing suicide. But to them, it meant moving on to a more developed kingdom. A spaceship or UFO, he told the group, would pick up their souls and take them to begin their new lives. This is what their new life form would resemble.
It is suicide to not leave. It is to take life to leave this body behind.
D'Angelo bought into the man and his teachings, but after 3 years, he felt something pull him away. He felt there were more things he needed to accomplish. He now believes it was to share his experiences with Heaven's Gate and let people know the truth about its leader.
I can say with absolute undeniable certainty that Doe was the second coming of Jesus, and I know it's true.
Doe instructed the group to look for a sign. It came to them in the night sky. 1997 was the year of the Hale-Bopp comet. In late March of that year, as the comet grew brighter, Doe became convinced the comet was the sign to shed their bodies and exit Earth. Members taped farewell messages. No one appeared the least apprehensive.
This is Hudson. I mean, this is the answer to everything.
For them, exiting their vehicles, as they called it, meant graduation. They bought graduation outfits, black pants and shirts, each adorned with a Heaven's Gate patch. So how do 39 people kill themselves? Well, they created a poison using pudding and applesauce. They laced it with vodka and a drug called phenobarbital, a barbiturate fatal in large doses. They took the poison in shifts and went to sleep, never to wake up. The next day, Rio D'Angelo received a FedEx package with videotapes and a letter saying, quote, "You should be aware that we have exited our vehicles just as we entered them."
Did you think they would have the nerve or the guts to go through with it?
I knew that they would do what they felt was best for them, and that's what they did.
D'Angelo thought authorities should be notified, but first he needed confirmation. He drove to the mansion from where he was living in Los Angeles. A back door had purposely been left unlocked.
So I walk up into the living area, the living room, and that's when I start to notice the mattresses with people lying on them with the purple shroud. And of course, I knew from the odor what was happening.
D'Angelo filmed what he saw. The uniformity eerie and striking. They were all in identical positions, face up on a mattress. Everyone wearing their black outfit, Nike shoes, and most covered with purple shrouds. In the master bedroom alone, there was Doe, the leader. The story became a media firestorm. Rio D'Angelo became famous, appearing on the cover of Newsweek. A decade later, he's still a believer, even though Heaven's Gate is no longer around. He says his friends' deaths were not suicides because their souls live on at the next level. He understands what they did, but has no plans to take his own life.
They all knew what they were doing. They all felt very happy about what they did, and they knew where they were going.
And he maintains the website.
And teacher.
Dan Simon, CNN, Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. And Lordship wanted me to play some of the people who got left behind and how guilty they felt. So I think this is the Heaven's Gate the day after.
To save the
I'm not going to play a whole lot
The
of it.
group we're talking about here, we know, is a group called Heaven's Gate.
The issue is you're going to hear about our exit in
Just
the
not
news
the weirdest
about
stuff.
these individuals who committed suicide. We're going to tell you that those who write that kind of information are ignorant of the evolutionary level above human.
This goes out to all the people.
Blah, blah, blah.
Drinking strawberry wine.
Well, Dick, why did you decide the desert? I mean, this is a great place. Why here to talk to us?
So these are the ones that left.
It's an incredible place. It's like you're away from the city. You're away from all the vibrations. You're away from all the interferences. It's pure. It's clear. It's very special. And that's actually where, when we first left and went out into campgrounds, that was one reason why they took us out of the world, so that we could be out in places that were, uncluttered, and we could just kind of establish a connection. And I think with Theo and I, when we're trying to kind of relive some things and examine some things, it's good to be in a place where you can just be uncluttered and get your head clear. Really get your head clear.
Yeah, there's definitely no distractions of any kind out here.
Yeah.
Come on, let's get on with
How
it.
did you two first meet? I mean,
I was in one of the campgrounds, I think.
Yeah, let's speed this on along. I'm tired, y'all.
20 people had disappeared on the Oregon coast after attending a lecture held by a middle-aged couple on UFOs. And it was all very mysterious.
All we know is that these people that came back, they were very evasive with information. They just said that we are going on to a better thing, and they gave away everything, including kids.
Who does that sound like?
Property, automobiles, boats.
Who does that sound like?
And money. And just land.
We're getting calls from all over the United States now of other people that have children missing, have received letters from them from an area saying their children saying that they have completed their training and they will never see them again. And this is the type of information that's being filtered in.
Nobody knew where these people had gone. Eventually, postcards started to come back saying things like, "Dear Mom and Dad, I've seen the light. I'm going to follow it wherever it may lead. I'm healthy and happy. Don't worry about me. You'll never see me again. Love, Bob." You know, that was literally the kind of stuff that was happening. So there was this great mystery as to, you know,
A few weeks of being there, I get this Federal Express package, and it's addressed to me with the return address.
Hey, EXO.
To me, from me. It was like I mailed it to myself, which I knew I didn't, and I knew that the only people that would do that would be the class. And be that as it may, there would be nothing for them to send me unless it was to put it on the internet. And that told me right there that this was it. It was time to go. And they didn't give me any indicator of whether they were getting picked up or they were going to exit their vehicle. So I didn't know what happened until I read the note that said, by the time you read this, we will have exited our vehicles. And I knew exactly what was going on.
I got my FedEx package on, was it March 25th or something like that? And I almost knew that something major had happened. I didn't know that they had actually left.
This one here, he actually went, I think maybe 2 weeks later, and he, quote unquote, exited his vehicle. So he wanted to join his classmates.
Until I opened the package and saw in there that they left. But there was no, oh, gee, I missed them, and those poor people, they killed themselves, and that's baloney. I knew exactly what they had done, and I agreed with it 100%.
I feel I support the class 100%. I know who Doe is. I can't deny it. I feel like I can't deny it even if I wanted to. I mean, the whole time, you know, I was only in the class 3 months, and it's been 3 years since I've been out now. You'd think that'd be plenty of time for me to be reprogrammed or deprogrammed or whatever it is they call it. But the whole time I was out, I never found anything that made sense the way that did. It's the truth for me.
So I went in, and if I felt it was true that they had exited their vehicles, and if so, I felt that the odor might be a little overwhelming, and this vehicle has a pretty weak stomach. So I took some cologne with me and sprayed it on my shirt and held my shirt over my nose, and then got my video camera out. So I started to see these bodies on the mattresses, and I went around the house yelling to have anybody answer, and nobody answered. And then I just walked around the house and videotaped whatever I could see.
The members of Heaven's Gate died over a 3-day period. One by one, they surrendered their lives by digesting deadly doses of drugs and alcohol.
It was pudding and barbiturates. It was phenobarbital with applesauce or pudding, and vodka. And what you do is you ingest it, and then you lie down on your bunk and wait quietly. And it's a very easy, very painless way to go. Of course, I'm not advocating that people do this, but I'm saying that this is the procedure that these people took. And after which, it's my understanding that the ones that were helping assist put these purple, what they're calling shrouds, over the head and part of the chest.
Well, we know that they're in the next level, that they are in the keeping of next level. We don't know if they're on a particular spacecraft, if that spacecraft is following Hale-Bopp, if it's even in, behind the moon, behind Hale-Bopp even still, or whether it's just hanging out up in the atmosphere somewhere. We don't really know.
And this, I feel, is more dignified than anything else because, like I said, these people had a huge amount of dignity, and so did Doe. And also, they had a lot of respect for the people that might find them.
They were preparing for a trip. They were literally preparing to leave. And every time we prepared to go on a trip, we would pack a bag, and we'd put $5 in our pocket. We'd have some quarters for phone calls. And that's exactly what they did. They were preparing to leave, to go on a trip. It was just that simple.
When I'd sit some nights in bed and think about what I'd given up, I'd start to go crazy. I'd just want to go in my car and start driving and hope I'd find him. And in fact, in March of this year, I had it all planned out. I had saved up some funds, and I was going to get in that car of mine, and I was going to start driving around the Western United States. And I was going to hope that the next level, if they thought I was sincere in my desire, would link me up with the class. And then they left on me. Well, not on me. I left on them. I don't look at that as them leaving me behind. I voluntarily left myself behind, in a sense.
Finally, they got off this hideous planet, was my thought. I mean, it was wonderful that they're now no longer having to deal with these primitive vehicles and this hideous place that, people still like this planet. I don't know why. I don't like it here.
Hi, my name is Rick Cody. And by the time that you see this tape, I'll be gone. I'll be leaving this vehicle, and they will probably find this vehicle in a motel somewhere. And I'm going to be leaving in much the same way that my classmates and my older member left. I'm not dying. I'm not going to be dead. I am simply leaving this vehicle. I know that's going to be hard for people to take. I know that with the response that people have had from my older members and my classmates leaving, I've been acutely aware of how the world has responded to that.
Cool.
All they see is their vehicles laying around without life in them, and they immediately jump to the conclusion that these individuals are dead. They are not dead any more than a caterpillar is dead when it goes into a chrysalis and changes into a butterfly. There is substance to souls and substance to the mind that is in these vehicles. And that substance doesn't go away because the vehicle is dropped off. Unfortunately, it's about the only way that we can get out of these vehicles is to kill them off. We can't just leave without the vehicle expiring. It cannot live without a life force in it. And so when we take our life force away from the vehicle is considered dead. Please don't look at my older member, don't look at my classmates, and don't look at me as having died. We have not died. We have simply moved out of these vehicles.
Everybody asks me, is Chuck going to try to commit suicide again? I don't know. I haven't talked to him for months. I think if he reads the stuff that he is currently making available, he'll realize that if this is true, he's missed his opportunity to get on board the craft. I don't see Chuck having either the desire or the charisma to start a group of his own. I don't see that as a real possibility. So I don't know what is in store for them.
I think for the Heaven's Gate believers who are still here, they need to wrestle with this question because they're here. And so they need to think about, well, what does the future have in store? And if the earth is going to be spaded under, what is the nature of that? And what's going to happen to them? Because they're here. They're not in the kingdom of heaven.
Existence here is a strange duality. And I know that when I do leave this planet, however way that is done, I'm not sure just how it'll be, but I feel in the meantime that I am here to answer a lot of questions that people might have as far as the class is concerned, the DOE is concerned. I was the last one to be a member of that class before they exited. And I know the procedures that they had developed at that time and the changes, the mind changes, because everything changed, even procedures over a number of years. And I hope to help people understand that.
In February of 1998, nearly 1 year after the deaths of his classmates, Chuck Humphreys took a drive to an isolated location in Arizona. He assembled his tent and placed it beside the tailpipe of his car. Dressed in black, with the garden hose in hand, Chuck laid down inside the tent, placed a plastic bag over his head, and to ensure death, he inserted one end of the hose inside the tailpipe, the other inside the plastic bag, and surrendered his life.
The vehicle meant nothing to them. They knew they were the soul, and they knew that they were filled with the mind of God. They were part of God because they were filled with this. And to drop the vehicle was incidental because they knew, and they had their guide with them. They had no fear. We had no fear. What would we fear? What's to be afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of.
And I wonder who's God. I think of UFOs. God is even real. I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, that is Heaven's Gate. I could do weeks and weeks and weeks of commentary on Heaven's Gate. I love them so much. Anyway, I have been on here way long enough. So let me get the hell up out of here. Okay, let me get the hell up out of here. And I'm going to put up a little poll or on my community page on my main channel and see what you guys are interested in for next week. If y'all want to see a serial killer or, you know, a murderess from Snapped, or if y'all want to see another cult, and then, you know, do a poll. Y'all can vote on whichever one y'all want to see, and then we will do that one. All righty. You guys have a good night, and y'all may see me in a live. You know, might be some fuckery going on. You know how that go. It's always some fuckery on YouTube. It's always fuckery up here. I need somebody to tell me who is Cookie Monster and where she came from. Can somebody tell me who is Cookie Monster, where she came from? Anyway, I'm out of here, y'all.
Please. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had a great time today. We have truly enjoyed ourselves, and we would like to thank you for being a part of the show and coming to visit this platform. Live on YouTube, Auntie Miracle B. Make sure you come back. Because it's always live each and every time. Auntie Miracle B.